Are you thinking about moving to Oregon and the Corvallis area is high on your list? Well, we've moved over 400 families in the Willamette Valley, and we can help you too. We reached out to our clients and friends and said, hey, if you're willing to go on camera and tell your Oregon story, we'll honor your time by donating to a local nonprofit, Jackson Street Youth Services. About 15 of our friends responded enthusiastically, so let's hear what these people have to say about their move here and their life in the area. We'll do our best to show you places on the screen when they're mentioned, and there'll be links in the description below. Hey folks, thanks for tuning in today. I'm Michael Kreslowski with Team K Realty, and we're joined by a friend and client, JD. So JD, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Yes. And so JD and Kim moved here during the global health crisis, if I recall correctly.
Yeah.
Right? Just to set the scene for when the time frames were. And you were already an Oregonian because, come to think of it, you are an Oregonian, right?
Lifelong Oregonian, yes, which is rare nowadays.
But you were moving here from further north. So let's dive into your story.
Okay.
So would you mind telling us just a little bit about where you were born and raised and where you moved here from?
Okay. I was born and raised in Canby, Oregon, which is a suburb of Portland. It's a farming community. It's an hour and a quarter north of Corvallis.
Mm-hmm.
And went to high school there, went to college in Salem. After college, my then wife and I moved back to Canby, where she was a chemistry teacher. And basically, I ended up living in and around Portland for, many years, 30 years.
Most of your life?
Yeah, exactly. I always used to say that I had lived my entire life in a 25-mile radius.
Yeah.
But once I moved to Corvallis, it became a 50-mile. Yeah, I'm a rare lifelong Oregon.
Nice. Canby, I'm not intimately familiar with, but is it fair to say Canby is like a small town vibes section of Oregon?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Especially when I was growing up. When I was growing up, it was just a small farming community. 7,000 people. I think it always used to say 6,700 on the population side.
Okay.
Now it's over 20,000. It doesn't feel like a small town.
All right. So Canby, a little bit more rural then.
Yes.
But just a little bit at this point.
Yeah.
And Portland, of course, big metro area, big city. Yeah. Not the capital, but what I thought would be the capital, being a transplant to Oregon. Cool. All right. So you moved down here from Portland area.
Mm-hmm.
Why did you decide to make that move? And why did it end up being Corvallis?
This is a multifaceted question or a multifaceted answer. I love Portland. I loved Portland, still love Portland. But after my divorce and when Kim and I started dating and seeing each other, this is 2012, 2013. After a couple of years, we took an RV trip. She quit her job. I was able to work from home so I could work while I was on the road. We spent 15 months on the road. And we went all around the country. We're both adventurous. And we were like trying to find, are there other places that we could live?
Mm-hmm.
And ended up, there were a few places. I really like New Orleans, Miami, New York City, and basically any place that has its own unique culture. But a lot of the U.S., I came away thinking, I like Northwest Oregon. I know I grew up here, and so I'm biased and I'm prejudiced, but I like it more than almost anywhere else I have seen on this 15-month RV trip. So we moved back here. And we moved back to Portland. During the time we were gone, it's crazy to think that in 15 months, a city can change that much.
Okay.
But it did. And some of the warts that had always been there became very prominent.
And we're talking about Portland.
Yeah, we're talking about Portland. So still a great city, but it was experiencing some issues. And they were issues that were affecting our quality of life. And we had some talks. And we said, Kim grew up in a small town in California, much more rural even than Canby was. And we both like small town stuff. We didn't want to give up the amenities of the city though. So what we decided to do is just sell our house and rent a place for 6 months. We managed to find a 6-month rental. And we spent that 6 months driving all over Western Oregon, Western Washington, looking at all the different cities and towns, trying to figure out where is it that we would like to live. And Corvallis is what we settled on. There were other cities in the running, and there were lots of factors involved, but Corvallis is what we settled.
What were some of your key criteria for which places were going to be in the running? How did that list get prioritized?
For Kim, it had to be someplace where she could find a job. Again, I'm retired now, but I was working from home, and I could work from anywhere. But Kim needed to be able to she works in the dental industry, and she needed to be able to have enough opportunities for work, at least a large town nearby. And We wanted access to some degree of culture. It didn't have to be as much as a big city like Portland, but some degree of culture, and the university offers that. There's plays and concerts and all the sporting events, all sorts of stuff.
Those kind of opportunities.
Yep, sure. Exactly right. We both like to be outdoors, and we have a dog that loves to be outdoors, and we wanted a town that would give us access to that, which honestly that's almost anywhere in the Pacific Northwest. You have access to that.
Yeah.
But Corvallis has real close access. So there were a few places that we looked at. We really liked Port Townsend, Washington, but Port Townsend is pretty isolated, and I think it's maybe 25,000 as opposed to the 60,000 of Corvallis and the 50,000 of Albany. So while Port Townsend would have offered some opportunities, it wasn't quite right.
It was really close.
It was really close.
Yeah.
I liked Roseburg, Oregon, believe it or not. Kim did not. It's an old timber town, and so it's pretty run down, but I see the beauty that used to be there. And
I almost moved to Roseburg when I made this move.
Is that right?
Yeah.
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 I like it. But like I said, Kim doesn't.
Paradise is subjective, as we
Yeah.
say.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Okay. And then how did we connect? I feel funny asking you questions that I obviously know the answer to, but for the people who are not familiar, of course, with your story and my story, tell them a little about how we connected.
Okay. So I had a real estate agent that I had been using for the past 10 years in Portland. We liked her very much, but she doesn't work in Corvallis. And
Different markets.
when we decided that Corvallis is where we wanted to be, we had to find a real estate agent. And I don't think he recommended, I think I found you on YouTube. In fact, I know that's true. We had come down for a weekend and we had driven around Corvallis and we had looked at the various neighborhoods, but we didn't really get a feel for all of it. In retrospect, I think that's crazy because you could get a feel for Corvallis in a weekend.
We'll talk about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I found your video where you were driving around looking at all the various neighborhoods. It might have only been Northwest Corvallis. I don't remember, but I know it was Northwest Corvallis because I remember some of the streets you attended.
It was the narrated driving tour of town, which is mostly Northwest because town's very disproportionately divided.
It's mostly Northwest.
We'll make sure that there's a little snippet on the screen when you mention things like that so that our viewers, listeners can
Right
cue into
here
those
is
things.
Northwest Corvallis driving tour.
It'll just take up the whole screen.
Okay.
And there'll be links in the description below too. Yeah.
Okay.
So it was the narrated driving tour of town.
Yeah. And I remember I sent you an email and I think it overwhelmed you. And so you contacted Andy and said, what is going on with your style? He seems a little crazy.
Shout out to Andy Blackwell. Yeah. Up in Portland. Yeah. I think we like vetted each other actually. In a couple of conversations. Yeah. Just to make sure that you guys were cool. And she was like, hey, I love these guys. They're friends. You know what you're doing, right? Let's talk about designations and training experience. Blah, blah, blah. I was like, oh yeah, grill me. Let's go. So
yeah.
Yeah.
And ended up Michael and I hit it off and now we're friends. Yeah. And that is how we connected.
And I'm not just fishing for a testimonial here, but what was it like working with myself and my team?
It was good. It was great. We didn't work much with your team. We worked with you.
Actually, yeah. At that stage, it was mostly me as boots on the ground. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So I can't comment on the team. That's what I'm saying. Although I've dealt with them since then and like them very much. Yeah. I thought it was great working with you. You were very responsive, which pleased me. It seemed to know the city. And working with you, I could call you up. We were an hour and a half north. I could say, hey, I just found this listing. I think I want to see it. I could be down there in 90 minutes. And you'd be like, all right, come on down. That's pretty responsive. I don't want to set you up so that everyone's going to call you and expect you to be there.
We enjoy knocking people's socks off. Did we do a combination of virtual showings and normal in-person? It was all in person?
Yeah. You may have offered the virtual showings to us, but I'm not a virtual showing kind of person. I want to come down and see it myself.
All good. Cool. Thank you. I'm obviously fishing for a testimonial when I say I'm not fishing for a testimonial. So thank you. So you were coming down here and getting a feel for the town, getting a feel for obviously the start of the professional relationship with myself and the team behind the scenes and that stuff too. Do you mind talking a little bit about just in where you decided to purchase the home that you and Kim are at? And I say in general, because I don't want you to say even the street name or the address or anything. Internet privacy is important. But it would be wonderful to just talk about the neighborhood vaguely and what you love about it and what amenities are nearby.
For me, a huge priority was walkability. I'm a walker. I walk as many areas as I possibly can. I walk the dog. I'm out all the time. So I actually preferred something that was closer to downtown and closer to campus.
Okay.
Kim, on the other hand, was very worried about living too close to campus because she didn't want to be subject to college party. That was her big worry, is college party. In retrospect, you and I looked at some homes that were relatively close to campus, relatively close to downtown. And Kim didn't look at them, but in retrospect, they would have been fine. Now that I walk this city all the time with the dog. And I know that even though those places were relatively close to campus, they were out of the party zone. There are definitely places that are in the party zone.
Yeah. If you're basically living on campus, there's going to be that kind of activity. But
Yeah.
the zone that you're referring to, I remember showing you homes like on Northwest 12th Street. For
Yeah,
example.
they were over by the high school. That's what
Yeah.
I would, and
Yes.
so they were just south of the high school. And it's a prime location, in my opinion.
There's a zone that it's not necessarily actually historic homes, but it has that kind of vibe.
Yeah,
And
they're older.
it's just north of the two main drags, like Harrison and Van Buren.
Mhm.
When you get south of those main drags, then you're really like literally in downtown or basically right on campus,
Yep.
depending on east-west. But it was just more of a residential vibe as opposed to a rental vibe.
Yes,
Yeah.
and certainly there are rentals mixed in there.
Yeah.
But I think they're more the responsible. That's my just conclusion based on what I've seen over the past 4 years.
Not in the thick of it.
They're not in the thing.
All right.
Exactly. Yeah, Kim rejected the things that were closer to downtown, which would have been great walking. Oh my God, I would have loved it.
Yeah.
So we started looking further out, and by further out, north of Grant. Grant is a main east-west thoroughfare here in town. And so we looked northwest of Grant and 29, where there's a grocery store, the Co-op. It's right on that corner. So we looked northwest of the Co-op.
Yeah.
And we wanted to be within walking distance of the Co-op. We found an amazing house that was just 3 blocks from the Co-op. And we put in a huge offer on it, like way over asking. And we lost out, even though it turns out we were the highest bid, but a cash offer went out over us.
Okay.
I still have regrets about that.
Is that Greenwood?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
That's right. It was on Greenwood. And I might have been able to come up with that cash, but it would have really put me in a pin. So
You make the decisions that you make based on the context at the time.
exactly.
Yeah.
So we ended up a little further out. All this is a long-winded way to say that we ended up northwest of that 29th, which is a main north-south route, and Circle, which is a very major east-west route. We're northwest of 29th and Circle. And it's a great neighborhood. It's just families. The neighborhood went in the 60s. And I think it was families then. It was young families that were buying the homes.
Yeah.
And so now the first owners, many of them have already moved out, but we've noticed in the neighborhood, even in the 4 years we've been here, there's a lot of the older people, they've moved on and their homes are coming up for sale there. So there's a surprising amount of turnover, but it's not the younger people that are turning over there. It's the older people who've been there for 40 or 50 years.
Yeah. And that's a common phenomenon in Corvallis.
Is that right?
People are in their homes for decades, which is one of the reasons why so many of the homes need so much updating. Because the actual owner occupants don't think the houses need updating because they're still thinking about 20, 30, 40 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
So come to think of it, sorry to interject.
No, that's all right.
We can vaguely refer to your neighborhood as the woods.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. So that is a thing. Okay. Because
That's what Kim calls it. I don't
Right.
ever hear anybody calling it, but yes, it is one of the terms for it.
So I've only been in real estate for 11 years, and I just heard this the other day while interviewing a friend, Marcia, whose video will presumably show up right before this. And she actually does live very close to you. And she was like, "Oh, that's the woods, Michael." Like all the street
that's
names
what
have.
Kim calls it. So I
Got
think
it.
that's where it came from.
And I was
But
like,
it is, they're all, it's Elmwood.
Elmwood, Gumwood, Dogwood, Norwood. It's
Yep.
the woods.
Yep.
Yeah. So we can refer to it as such.
The woods, yes.
Cool. Now I'm in the know.
I know I'm going long-winded, but whatever.
Yeah.
The neighborhood we ended up in is a little less walkable. Oh, hell, it's a lot less walkable than I would want. But
You've definitely got hills.
Yes, and I don't mind the hill.
Okay.
But it's to the Co-op at 0.9 miles, to Winco, which is a large kind of discount grocery store, it's 0.9 miles. I would prefer to be within a half mile of a grocery store, but I still walk to the grocery store, or I'm one of those older guys who has an electric scooter and I ride the scooter around, and that's how I do most of my grocery shopping, except for when it's raining.
Okay.
But on a beautiful sunny day like today, I would be soon to the grocery store.
And today's background picture I took this morning with you in mind of some lovely trees with sun shining through them, because I know that you like to go walking and hiking.
Yep.
And that was in Northwest Corvallis.
Nice. Nice. Oh yeah, it looks, yeah.
So you've got reasonably close proximity to some of those amenities.
Yes.
You're not that far from the Timber Hill Shopping Center with the grocery stores, some restaurants, Taco Vor, stuff like that.
Yeah.
You're still not that far from the co-op.
And honestly, we're 2 miles from campus. So like for a football game, we'll walk down to the football game. It's fine. It's a 45-minute walk.
Oh, you have done that?
Oh yeah. And I even walked down. There's a second run movie theater that shows movies. It looks like they're expanding. It was only Wednesday night, but I think they're doing Monday nights now too. And
are we talking about Dark Side or White Side?
White Side.
White Side.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the second run. Dark Side shows new stuff. But White Side is 3 miles from home. It's exactly an hour walk. So it might be 3.5. It's exactly an hour. So I will walk down during the summer, and then I'll walk home after the show.
Awesome. And White Side Theater is in downtown Corvallis.
Yes.
It's a couple blocks over.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's super fun. I love that you actually do have such pedestrian adventures. Wow, that's not the right way to put it.
Pedestrian adventures.
Such adventures as a pedestrian.
There you go.
Yes. Totally different.
Oh, I think pedestrian. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Pedestrian means just front of the mill. Okay.
Yeah. Well, that's really cool. Another one of the things that I know that you've really enjoyed as a dog walking, pedestrian, outdoorsy person are the free little libraries in town. Would you mind talking to us a little bit about that?
So if you're unfamiliar with the Little Free Libraries, it's a nonprofit organization. I think it's a nonprofit that you can buy the kits from them or you can build them yourself. And you essentially just construct a box with a door in front of your house.
Yeah.
And you can put books out there. Other people can put books in there and other people can come and take them. And Corvallis has a shocking number of these. I've mapped over 120 myself. There's another guy in town that does mapping too. He posted on Facebook. My guess is there's probably 150, 180 of these in town, a city of 60,000 people. And it's just a shocking amount. And I have favorites, and the dog and I, we pretty much only walk in Northwest Corvallis, but we have our routes that we cover.
Sure. You always
I've
got
got to
a
go
rabbit
see,
run.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I like to go see what's in the Little Free Libraries. I put books in there. I think they're great.
And you and Kim have one as well.
Yep. I put one up, and it's full of science fiction books and graphic novels and things that I'm getting rid of.
I think that's a really lovely, albeit potentially small, indicator of what this community is like.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. There's just so many of those that you get the feeling that people love literature, love arts and culture, and also want to share and are into volunteering and things that aren't necessarily just businesses, considering how much time and effort goes into this free library program.
Yeah.
And that's not just unique to Corvallis. That's not a Corvallis thing.
Oh, no,
But
they're all over the place.
There's as you said, a shocking number of them here. Yeah.
Just as a tangent, I was also shocked. I was in New Orleans. Yeah, I was in New Orleans about 18 months ago. And I was walking all over New Orleans too, because it's a pretty walkable city.
Mm-hmm.
And I was shocked at how many were there too. Yeah, that was fun because I got to see a lot of the different books that I wouldn't see in the Pacific Northwest.
Oh, totally. Yeah. Oh, that's really neat. I obviously am familiar with the road trip that you mentioned earlier in our conversation. Yeah. I didn't quite realize or remember, perhaps, that part of the impetus for that road trip was thinking about moving to places. I just think about the stories you and Kim tell about the RV trip.
Yeah.
So I'm very glad that you ended up where you decided to. This is fun.
I'm glad, but I'm also very surprised because when we set out, we really thought we would find someplace else to live. And there are definitely places we could live. Just north of Denver, the suburbs there like Longmont and Fort Collins. We love those places. Like I say, I love New Orleans, Miami. Any place that feels like its own culture is just not average U.S. I like.
Okay.
But the Pacific Northwest has its own vibe.
It definitely does.
Yeah.
Talk to us a little bit more about some of those outdoor activities, things that you love doing on the weekends for recreation.
One thing that we should do more often, and we don't, is go to the coast. So the Oregon coast is beautiful. It's fun to visit. The city of Newport is only an hour from our front door, but we only go 2 or 3 times a year. That's still more than we did when we were in Portland, but I would expect us to go more often. Having said that, last summer I did end up going to Lincoln City, which is another nearby city. It's about 90 minutes away. I did end up going to Lincoln City 6 or 8 times because I was taking classes in Lincoln City.
That's right.
Yeah. Other outdoors things, people are involved in birding. As Noel, your
Team member.
teammate, just told me that Corvallis has one of the largest, or Oregon State University has one of the best birding programs in the country.
Noel and I are the gold level sponsors of the Willamette Valley Birding Symposium that is taking place on Saturday. Yeah.
I think that's awesome. Kim is very involved in mushrooming, mycology. And so that's a new hobby for her over the past couple of years. And there's a huge thriving mycology mushrooming community in Corvallis and just south of here in Eugene.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Do you happen to remember where she took some of those gleaning classes through? Because mushrooming has come up at least a few times in other conversations. And every time it does, I mentioned, oh, I've got a good friend that does that. But I don't think it's through Lynn Benton Community College.
No.
I feel like a lot of the other adult ed classes we'll have conversations about are, but that was something different.
Yes, that was something different. All I know is she started by taking classes from a guy that I took clamming lessons from 20 years ago. So
there was a clamming connection on the coast, right? Because Ray went with her on the clamming one, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Or they might have been gathering seaweed.
It was the seaweed one, right?
Yeah.
Ray brought home a bunch of seaweed. Okay.
Yeah.
And then we realized there were still some little critters and little crustaceans, and we were like, oh, what do we do with these? Anyway, yeah, traumatic seaweed moments. But we will have to reach out to our respective partners, ask them exactly where this mushroom class was through, and we'll make sure it's on the screen for you, and we'll link in the description below.
The real major outdoor activity I think that Corvallis offers is just casual hiking. I don't want to call it dedicated. Not, involved hiking. I've got to go take a backpack and prep and do all that. You're 20 minutes away from dozens, if not 100 trails where you don't need to take anything. You just take your dog and your tennis shoes and you go out and you can walk. And Kim does it 3 or 4 times a week with the dog. I used to do it 3 or 4 times a week. I think she's a pain off leash, so I don't do it.
Your dog.
Yes. Yeah. Not Kim. And yeah, the trails around here are amazing. And what's pretty amazing to me is a lot of them connect. Some of them are privately owned. Some of them are owned through a timber company. Some are owned by the university, but they all connect, and the public is allowed to walk on all of them. There are places where you're not allowed to walk, but there's maps and stuff that show how everything connects. And I don't know, is it 30, 40 miles contiguous? There's a trail that runs to the coast, I know. So
I can literally walk out my front door and I'm on the Corvallis to Coast Trail.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the point that you're making is I want to help summarize really the vibe.
Yeah.
You've got essentially instant access to trailheads. This morning, I was on Northwest Oxbow in the West Hills taking this picture because I'm selling a house there. There's 4 trailheads that are a stone's throw from that house. That's what this is like.
Is that up above MLK Park?
It's a little bit further out off of Oak Creek Road. So no.
Oh, okay.
No,
Yeah.
It's a little further.
Off of okay.
But it's
that's where Kim takes, that's her favorite walk with the dog.
It's right by Fit and Green.
Yeah. Fit and Green's amazing.
Cardwell Hill and then the Dimple Hill one. There's 4 right there.
Yeah. And they're all great.
There are a lot of neighborhoods that are like that where you can literally have trail access from your neighborhood.
Oh, and yes. And this is going to lead to a tangent that's semi-related. One of the amazing things about Corvallis that I haven't seen in a lot of other cities, especially the Southeast. Kim and I have spent some time in the Southeast, and it's as if in Georgia and Florida, they're actively trying to prevent you from being a pedestrian, prevent you from walking. I hate it. It drives me crazy.
I moved here from Florida.
So you might know, but here in Corvallis, I forget what the name of the active use corridor. That's what it's called. AUC. They're basically just little short segments that are either owned by the city or they're private, but the landowners don't care and have granted permission. These active use corridors connect basically dead ends, or they might connect next to Winco, next to the grocery store. If you want to take a shortcut, and normally you'd have to walk like 10 minutes around, there's an active use corridor that just cuts off that 10 minutes that you just walk through 2 people's yards.
Yeah.
And
they'll have a little trail thing in between.
Yep. And it's one of the things that makes Corvallis a joy to live in, is that these active use corridors exist, and walking and cycling and electric scooters are encouraged.
Yes. You and Owen are the 2 friends that I know that electric scooter all over the place. So maybe someday.
Does he do electric scooter, or does he do a skateboard?
Oh, wait a minute. It's
He's
one of
got,
those
like, those one-wheel
skateboard
things.
things. Yeah.
But he might have a scooter now. I haven't talked to him in a year.
Maybe it's both. He came in and did one of these the other day too.
Mm.
Yeah. I'll have to loan you guys some GoPros. He's probably got one.
Yeah,
He's
he
a
probably
videographer,
does.
But
Yeah.
at some point we'll do Scooter Vallis and like, we just like,
I was going to ask if you've done dog vallis.
yes,
Yeah, because dog vallis needs to be done.
that must have happened after you moved here. Yeah. Often, I feel like our friends self-select half the time because they find me on YouTube. We help them buy a house and then they become friends. It's wonderful. It doesn't have to be that way. Don't worry. But then why would you keep watching the YouTube channel, right? You're already
Right.
here. So yes, Dog Vallis will be sure is on the screen. Noel and I had a good time doing Dog Vallis. We also did Cat Vallis as a kind of April Fool's Day joke, but there is actually decent information in there. For
Yeah,
cat
I
owners.
bet.
We didn't want the cat owners to be left out.
Is there art vallis?
Art Vallis is in the works.
Yeah.
And we're going to use that. We'll segue next into art because everyone's wondering why your hands are blue. But Art Vallis, we've got videos at the time of this recording posted about Fall Festival, about Teal Artists Co-op, about Philomath Open Studios. And I feel like there was one other, just off the top of my head, I can't quite remember. I know that we've got footage from the Eugene Holiday Saturday Market as well, and some other stuff too. And we'll incorporate like Corvallis Art Walk, for example, because Art Vallis is a big project.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just as a tangent question, the Teal Artist Co-op, is that only during the holidays?
Teal Artists Co-op is seasonal, so it's November and December.
And it's the thing that they rent space down here.
And they rent sometimes a different space,
Okay.
but it's usually a few years in a row in that spot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I bought a couple things from them and yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, we've got a thriving arts community, so let's absolutely deliberately take that tangent.
Okay.
Tell us about how you've connected with the arts community and why your hands are blue.
Okay. So I've connected my previous life. I wrote about personal finance. I was a money writer and that's great. I always wanted to be a writer, but I always thought I would write poetry or science fiction. I thought it would be that creative writing. I don't regret the work I did. In fact, I'm happy I did it. But when I finally decided that I was done and I wanted to retire, I wanted to do a tangent. I wanted to just go someplace completely different. And so I thought I wanted to draw a comic strip. It was a comic strip about money, so it wasn't going to be like a complete tangent.
Different way of expressing and relating to the contents. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But I've never taken an art class in my life, photography, and so I had to start somewhere. So about 15 months ago, I started taking art classes through the Lynn Benton Community College. What do they call it? Public. I didn't take them. They're not actually 4 credit classes. It's the community ed classes.
I just think of it as adult ed.
Yeah, exactly right.
You're taking classes because you want to take them, not because it's a degree or certification path.
Correct.
Yeah.
And because it was the only thing available at the time that I was starting, I took watercolor class. I didn't intend to take watercolor. Turned out I liked watercolor. And so I'm now in my 6th term taking watercolor classes. I also take drawing classes. And tomorrow night I will take my first comic book or comic drawing class.
Very good.
The blue hands came because today in watercolor class, which I just came from before here, we made these beautiful marbled papers with shaving cream and blue paint. And it was messy as all get out. We're all just, fortunately, I knew it was going to be messy and I wore an apron.
Yes. You've taken, I feel, at least a class that overlapped with one that Ray took as well. Was it a drawing class with Mark Ellison?
Yeah, we've taken 2 or 3 classes.
A few?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The adult ed opportunities, I feel like are such a wonderful resource to have in this community.
Yeah.
I know people, of course, such as yourself, that are taking like painting, drawing, but there's also ceramics, dance, language, just all kinds of stuff. And it's just a wonderful facet of the community to be a part of. I look forward to really carving out some time. I want to take a ceramics class. I miss that.
Oh, do you really?
Doing something like that too. Yeah.
Yeah. And I know that the adult ed classes exist just about everywhere, but it seems that there's a very active community. For example, the class that I just came from this morning, I call it the art cult. The instructor calls it the art cult.
You'll have to explain that now.
Because basically it's a very large art class. You'd think a community ed class. In fact, my experience is there are like 4, 5, 6 people in a class, maybe 8 to 10 if it's a large class. This one has 25. It's always full.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a waiting list to get in. And the students take it over and over. There's students in there that have been taking it for 7 years. And They go out to lunch. I was going to go out to lunch with them today, but I didn't have time. We take field trips together. It's a cult in a cute cult kind of way, not in an actual cult kind of way. It's a dedicated group of people that enjoy art, and we're doing art together. And it's so fun.
That's really neat. Come to think of it, I think Ray's taken the same class multiple times as well.
Yeah, the Mark Allison one.
And Mark Allison's at least locally known, a very well-known artist and teacher. And he has a background in the medical sciences, if I recall.
Yes, medical illustration.
Medical illustration, right? So he's taken that and now he's teaching, I think mostly drawing, maybe drawing painting classes. And I think he also teaches a class that my neighbor does with him about making pennyweight model airplanes. Something like that. Have we ever talked about that?
No, I did not.
I'll have to find out.
Yeah. I don't know anything about that.
Okay.
That's fun.
You get to have, in a community this size, I feel like some anonymity. It's not like everyone's totally just in each other's business all the time, but you still get to know people and have those kind of relationships. And I feel like for me, it's just a sweet spot in terms of the size and the rapport versus anonymity that you can get to have.
Yeah.
Even though that's not a sidetrack tangent that I actually want to keep with. I love the art piece here.
Yeah. I do too. And I think it's important to note that Corvallis is 60,000 people, but Albany, which is from our house, is 20 minutes away. So it's probably 15 minutes border to border, or maybe even just 10.
Mm-hmm.
But Albany's 50,000 people. So it's two equal sized cities, essentially. They have a very different feel, and different people are drawn to different. Some people are drawn to Corvallis, like me. Some people are drawn to Albany. But I like the fact that they're both there. They're like yin and yang, and in a positive way. I mean that not like in an opposition. They work together, and both cities need the other.
You've got really, I'm going to rephrase that. Our friend Diana, who you know.
Yes.
Diana did one of these as well. In fact,
she's the one who lives in the firehouse, or the house with the fire.
The house with the fire pole. Yeah. So Diana did one of these, and she put this very well. Hers is live already. It's the only one that's been completed at the time that we're recording this in late January.
Albany. Yeah.
And she talked about being in North Albany, and we talked about having dual citizenship, having easy access to both downtowns. And she put it very well. She said, if you want the quintessential college town and the culture and the vibe of that, you've got Corvallis.
Mm-hmm.
She said, and if you want the city that's like a normal city, and it's got a Costco and a Walmart, and it still has a great, vibrant downtown and things to do, that's Albany. Mm-hmm. And they do complement each other very well. And I definitely enjoy Mid-Valley living, even though I'm living in Corvallis. I haven't lived in Corvallis the whole time. And we obviously help people buy and sell homes all over the Mid-Valley, not just Corvallis.
Exactly.
Yeah. You have a great, the Tri-Cities, as no one calls it, right?
Because of Philomath.
You got Philomath, Corvallis, and Albany. Yeah. I tried to make it a thing. It did not catch on.
The Tri-Cities.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to characterize Philomath. Philomath is a much smaller town, but even after living here 4 years, I couldn't tell you what its vibe is.
So Philomath, I think, used to have a little bit of a different vibe, and it's about 5,000 person. It's got a timber logging history.
Sure.
Like,
okay,
big time. It's also where the Oregon College, I hope I'm not messing that up, where the Oregon College started. Oregon State University ended up here next door, but it does have a very strong education base in its history, and it has good schools. They're well regarded. It's got great timber, forestry, like logging programs, all that kind of stuff rated. So does OSU, right? But at some point, my understanding is that at some point they changed the downtown vibe by making it really easy. I guess maybe they separated Applegate. I'm totally butchering street names here. Sorry about that. But it almost makes it like too easy to just go through Philomath to the coast, because it makes you not quite realize, oh, this is downtown Philomath, right? It's got a downtown, but it does have a divided highway going through it.
Yeah.
Corvallis does as well, but the nuance...
But it's a different feel.
Yeah, the nuance in Corvallis does feel more pedestrian and walkable and bikeable in that regard.
Whereas you got the bypass for...
You have the bypass skipping downtown if you want it. Whereas those streets do just go through Philomath. But Philomath has some great little local businesses.
Yeah.
It's got a great arts scene. Mm-hmm. Philomath Open Studios, we mentioned. It's also got some wonderful restaurants and great schools.
Kim and I go out of our way to, one of our favorite restaurants is in Philomath. And so Dirt Road Brewing is.
Okay. So let's go there then. Ray and I very well, we love to just eat our way through a place if we're being a tourist or just living here on a normal day. What are some of your favorite restaurants? Give as many shout outs as you feel like. We'll put them on the screen. We got great places here.
Okay. In Philomath, we like Dirt Road Brewing. That is, it's a brewery, obviously. It's got my favorite sour beer forever. Lover's Sour. It's a terrific beer.
Love their sours.
And they do great pizza. It's probably my favorite pizza in the whole Tri-Cities, as you're calling it. So that's our favorite restaurant in Willamette. In Albany, we don't have a whole lot yet, although we've discovered, okay, there's two things I want to say about Albany's restaurant scene. First is just across the bridge from Corvallis. There's a bridge that goes across the Willamette River. As you're going into Albany from Corvallis and you take a right, there's a little Italian place right there.
Yes.
And that is amazing.
It used to be called Gambaretti's. I think it's new management or new ownership, but it's in the same spot on First Street in downtown Albany.
Yes, and it's a terrific place. We've only been there once last September, but we want to go again because it's delicious.
Yeah.
In fact, we need to do a date night. I just got back from being away for a month. I think maybe I'll suggest we do that.
Let's do it.
And
wait, were you invited?
no, I'm not going on a date with you. I'm going on a date with Kim.
We'll do a double.
I see
date
how-
of that Chinese food
I
place.
see how the
It's fine.
confusion. Yeah.
I
Oh,
thought I was getting invited out to
Yeah.
Italian.
But no, you are invited to Chinese, however. We just learned that Corvallis has the number 8 Chinese restaurant in the United States, which cracks me up. And that's Tianfu Hot Pot. We've never been there. And so we tried to go. Okay, so Albany has the Italian place, but they also have, there's a food cart.
The barn at Hickory Station in North Albany.
Yeah. So inside, they've got, all they do is serve beer, but then they rent spaces to, I don't know, maybe
I think
12, 16, 20
I think it's
food
16.
carts. Yeah. And a variety of cuisines. And yeah, that's fun. We had not been there until right around a year ago. So the first 3 years we lived here, we didn't go. Now we go once every couple months. In Corvallis itself, honestly, our favorite restaurant is the Beer Library, which sounds as if it's only alcohol, but it's not. It's what is the...
So they
Belgian.
Belgian frites, crepes, soups, veggie dishes.
Yeah.
Lots of beer.
I love it. It's good food. It's just, and the portions aren't overwhelming. So many restaurants nowadays, the portions are just crazy. And
So I'll give Beer Library a shout out doubly. When we did Beer Vallis, this comes back to you. When we did Beer Vallis, we mentioned Beer Library, and I confess that the only time I had been there was to take pictures for the Beer Vallis video. But a friend had just told me about the place and how good it was. I just hadn't eaten there yet. The friend was you. And I've since been there. Come to think of it, I've been there with you and Kim and Ray as well. And that place is an absolute winner. And another one of our client friends gave them a shout out the other day too, as having great games for the kids and everything as well.
oh yeah, I think they do. I never pay attention, but I see that they're there.
Yeah.
So what Corvallis has, I read the Corvallis subreddit, and a lot of people diss on Corvallis food. And I think that's unfortunate. They talk about how all we have is brewery. And I think that's ludicrous because we have a wide variety of cuisines. Some cuisines like Belgian that I've never seen elsewhere, but we probably only have one restaurant of that cuisine.
Okay.
So another example would be Kal Nasser.
The Syrian place.
Yeah.
It's the second time this has come up in these interviews as well.
I've never seen Syrian food anywhere else, and it's delicious. Kim and I will go there. They're super nice people. You've got the one just around the corner here that I've never been to.
I love Little Morocco.
I still haven't ever been there.
They have great shawarma plates, and I highly recommend their mango mint smoothies.
Okay, mango mint smoothies. What else do we like? I think there's decent pizza in Corvallis. Again, the Corvallis subreddit disagrees. I read the Corvallis subreddit, so I get to see what everyone likes and doesn't like about the town.
JD, with obvious sarcasm, I feel the need to say, there's negativity on the internet?
Exactly.
For crying out loud. Noelle and I spent a year on the project for this YouTube channel to make a Garden Vallis video. And after a year of working on putting together clips about gardening, we finally posted this video. And the very first comment I got was someone bashing some nonsense.
That's hilarious.
Grain of salt, maybe.
Yep. Yeah. I do think it's interesting that the different people like different pizza in Corvallis.
Oh, there's pizza wars.
Yeah.
Sushi wars too. Absolutely.
And my favorite is Sorello's up across from Market of Choice.
Mm-hmm.
Just a little hole in the wall, but delicious. And a total 1984 vibe, arcade cabinets, 1984 music playing. It's fun.
Sorello's is great. Yeah.
Yeah.
We love the pizza at Gathering Together Farms in Willamette.
Oh, Gathering Together
the farm to table restaurant. That place is actually my favorite restaurant in the world, and I love their wood-fired pizza there.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's definitely pizza wars. People are like, you think that's the best pizza? You're wrong. We're
Yeah.
like, whoa,
Yeah.
can't we all get along? They're like, no.
Yeah. I think Corvallis has a fine number of decent, good restaurants. None of them are as great as, say, the best restaurants in Portland are.
Okay.
None of them are like that. But I would say that the average quality of the restaurant is better than the average quality of the restaurant in Portland, if that makes sense.
Again, all these things are subjective.
Sure.
To my surprise, there have been people who very authentically came in and did these interviews that were like, I don't think we have a good food scene. And I'm like, this is the best food scene I've ever lived in. Like, where are you from? All these things are subjective.
Yeah, I think there is a good food scene here. I live directly next door to the couple that owns Wisecracks, the breakfast cafe in town. And again, some people don't like it, but I think it's amazing. They have big portions and delicious food. And of course, I know the owners.
I'm a big fan of their Julia's Love Child's Eggs Benedict.
Oh, yeah.
I do plan on making a Tour de Eggs Benny video at some point.
Is that right?
You have to. Oregon State University, Benny the Beaver's the mascot.
Oh, I didn't realize the beaver's name was Benny.
Yeah. Now you know. All right. So I'm going to take that as a segue, actually.
Okay.
If you don't mind. We're going to go away from food for a moment. And now that I officially gave you your stamp of being a Corvallis site and you know that Benny the Beaver is the mascot, now it's official. You thought it was 4 years ago when you bought the house. In all seriousness, though, was there ever a moment where you and Kim actually remember feeling after you made that move, you know what? Like, we did it. This is good. This really feels like home, the community, not just the house.
Yeah. We felt like it was the right move almost immediately. And now, nearly 4 years later, we know that 100% we love Corvallis and this is where we'll stay.
Okay.
But I'm trying to think of, I can't pinpoint an exact moment, but about a year in, we were both like, that's when we started saying, yeah, we're not going to move from here. It took about a year and we're like, oh, this is the place.
You've got that. I don't know the verbiage for it, but you've got that feeling of permanency and not just satisfaction, but just loving where you are.
Yeah. We say that it is perfect for us. We understand that it's not perfect for everybody, but it's perfect for us because it has everything that we need. It may not have like multiple versions of everything. This is what I keep saying.
It's a good way to describe it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have multiple Thai restaurants and multiple Mexican restaurants, but you're not going to have multiple Syrian restaurants or multiple Moroccan restaurants. It doesn't have the Costco. You got to go to Albany for that. But
I'm good with that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. We still have easy access to everything.
Yep. And I know that there are people who disagree with some of the Corvallis cultural, political decisions, such as the limitation on the size of the business, which is why Costco is not here.
Gotcha.
There are people who disagree with that. Well, I like it. Let Albany bear that burden. We can go over there when we need it.
We definitely don't have the big chains here. Yeah. You have some regional and smaller chain restaurants and stuff, but you definitely don't have a Kmart anymore or a Walmart or a Costco or anything. Yeah.
And the Home Depot is a relatively small Home Depot because there's a limitation on the size.
Gotcha. Okay. In terms of cost of living, because this is something that people are often asking about and concerned about, I'm not looking for information about what's your electric bill. That's not the point. But do you have a feel, just compared to other places, for what costs about the same here, what things might be more or less here, just in a very general sense?
I don't have a feel.
Okay.
It feels roughly the same as what things cost in Portland. I don't think Corvallis is cheap. There are certain stores here in town. I shop at Market of Choice a lot. Again, that's the organic store, but it's as expensive as can be. You can go buy a bag of potato chips there for $6 that you can go buy for $3 or less at Winco.
Oh, sure.
And so cost of living, I don't know, it seems comparable to other cities like Eugene or Portland in the Pacific Northwest. But I feel like we have a relatively high cost of living in the Pacific Northwest because it is a desirable place.
Supply and demand are definitely skewed here.
Yes.
Correct. Okay. That's fair. Let's see. For people who are watching or listening to this and are thinking about coming here to do like a reconnaissance trip, what are some things that you would recommend they check out if they're here for a long weekend or a week and they're trying to decide if it's the right area for them?
So if I were going to do a reconnaissance trip here, we have some friends who, they live in Portland, but every once in a while they come down to Corvallis just for kids. And they rent an Airbnb. And so that's what I would do, is I would definitely rent an Airbnb in a neighborhood. And it could be a neighborhood next to campus. That's fine. Our friends rent one in Southtown, which is just across the bridge here. And Southtown's a great neighborhood. I wish we had looked at it more. It's fun. And so I would rent an Airbnb and I would probably rent it for 3 days. if I were doing a reconnaissance trip. And if I were doing it, I would try to, I don't know how to, you can't rent one in a neighborhood where you know you want to live because you haven't been here yet. I would just find a place that looks appealing, rent it for 3 days. And then I would drive to different parts of the town and park the car and then just walk around and see what they're like. You definitely walk or park the car in downtown and then walk around downtown.
Sure.
Drive over by campus, walk around there. If you're doing a reconnaissance trip, you absolutely 100% want to check out downtown because that's the thriving core of Corvallis, in my opinion.
Okay.
I know not everybody comes downtown, but I think it's a shame because it's a fun downtown. It's an old Pacific Northwest downtown. Other things I would check out some of the hiking trails. I definitely would go to Oak Creek, or there's an arboretum just north of town.
PV Arboretum.
PV Arboretum. That's the hiking trails there. They're out of town, but they're very typical of the hiking trails that are in town. And so it's an easy place to go and park and say, okay. And then you go on those trails and they're very typical. I might also go to the coast if I were doing a reconnaissance trip, go see what Newport is like.
I forgot to mention earlier that we do have an example day trip to Newport on the channel, so we'll link that and put it on the screen too, showing off some of the fun highlights. But I don't want to lead the witness too much.
Right.
What would be some of the things that you would recommend checking out in Newport from your perspective?
Oh, I don't know. It depends on what you're into. For me, I like the restaurants, like Local Ocean and down at Nye Beach, there's a couple of good restaurants. When we go out, we're doing it for the dog. We take the dog out to the beach because she loves the beach.
Okay.
So on a reconnaissance trip, I think I would make one of my days checking out Albany, checking out Philomath, checking out Newport. So you can do that very easily in a day. And I'd probably start in Newport, actually, work my way back to Philomath and then to Albany, because Albany has more stuff to do in the evening.
Okay.
And of course, Newport would not. What else would I do if I were doing a reconnaissance trip? I feel like you have to check out the co-op. It sounds dumb.
No, that's great.
But the co-op is like a huge part of what Corvallis is, in my opinion. It's a cooperatively owned grocery store. And
2 locations in town.
Yep. There's one on the north side, one on the south side. But it sounds dumb to go check out a grocery store, but we spend a lot of time there. So.
It does not sound dumb to me at all. Ray used to work there, as you might recall.
Yeah.
And there's hundreds of local products. There's a hot foods bar. You can get a meal.
Yeah.
There's an amazing beer and wine selection. This is part of the lifestyle that you're going to want to be aware of.
Absolutely.
It's like a Corvallis phenomenon. I'd probably have an easier time rattling off my co-op member number than like my social security number. And you don't have to be a member to shop there. You just get sale days. But
that's good to know. So this is a tangent. They email you your receipt.
Okay.
I'm not a member. Kim is, and I'm on her number. And so she sees when I buy the chocolate cake. The co-op has delicious chocolate cake, and you can get a slice for $8.
You get busted every time.
I get busted. And so like today, I was thinking, I want a piece of chocolate cake, but I don't want Kim to know that I'm eating the chocolate. So I need to hide my chocolate cake habit from my wife. And
that sounds maybe a bigger conversation that should be had with someone who's got a license different than mine.
No,
I'm just having fun with it.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, I didn't realize, I can just buy the chocolate cake without giving her my number.
I love that realization. Thank you for sharing that authentic human moment with us just now.
Funny. If I were doing reconnaissance in Corvallis, I think I would also, I just said this, but I would I would try to walk the different neighborhoods. Because I think you get a much better feel of what the neighborhoods are like if you walk them. I'm saying this as somebody who has walked almost every street in town over the past 4 years. And it's one thing to drive through, but you're just driving through on the main roads. You're not really getting a feel for how much traffic there is. You're not getting a feel for, are people out and about? Are there little free libraries? Are there dogs? I think it's nice to just get out and just walk through the neighborhoods and see what they're like. Another thing I like about Corvallis, and I think I mentioned this in a different way earlier, is just how many people use alternate means of transportation. They walk, they bike, they use scooters. Corvallis, this is a true story, actually has the highest bike score of any town in Oregon. It's not Portland, it's not Eugene, it's Corvallis that has the highest bike score.
It's literally why I moved here.
Yeah.
Was the bicycle ranking.
And it's awesome. And people do bike, not as many as could. And not as many in the winter when it's raining as during the summer, but people bike everywhere. They ride their electric scooters. And there's a shocking number of people who do walk places. And I love to see that because, again, I just was in Florida people don't walk anywhere. Not even in the middle of winter. You can't use the excuse that it's too hot because it's not too hot. They just don't walk. There's no pedestrian culture.
It's not set up. It's not planned to be conducive to it.
Yeah.
I'm not even a cyclist anymore, regretfully. But there's a story there involving Florida, not Oregon.
Exactly.
But I moved here for the bike-friendly ranking, and I absolutely adore the amenities, the culture, the infrastructure that comes with that. Because this town, this small city, really is designed to be easy and less stressful to get around.
Yeah.
And that's definitely not something I can say about other places I've lived.
I think it's interesting that, again, going back to the negative stuff on the internet, if you read the Corvallis subreddit, there are people who complain about how awful the biking is in town. And I'm like, what are you talking? I feel like it must be kids, and this is their first time living anywhere, and it's not a bicycle utopia. And so they're like, oh, it's not 100%, so it must be bad. But no, it's good. I've lived in a number of places, and I've been all over the country and the world, and Corvallis is one of the best places to bike that I've ever seen.
I would call this a bicycle utopia compared to other places I've lived. It's literally why I moved here from Florida.
Yeah.
So again, these things are all subjective. I'm not trying to argue the point with you, but it's interesting to hear that people would say that on Reddit. But then again, the internet.
I've never engaged because I have a policy. I try not to engage that kind of thing. But the next time I see it, and it comes up all the time, next time I see it, I'm going to ask why. Why do you think this? Why is it you don't think it's bike? Because it's crazy bike.
Yeah, I find that to be confusing.
Yeah, me too.
So, JD, this is excellent. I really appreciate you taking time to share some of the highlights for you as an Oregonian, pedestrian, dog-friendly, little libraries, hiking, restaurants, art downtown. I feel like that's where the power is in all these stories, because it's one thing for me to make videos being like, I love Corvallis, here's why, versus what I'm hoping to accomplish here, which is other people seeing themselves in your story, not just in mine. And so that's been really fun because all of these conversations are absolutely a little bit different, but a lot of them still hit on some common themes, right? We hear that people love hiking a lot.
Yeah.
I really appreciate you taking the time here. If there is anything that you can think of that would be just advice you'd have for people thinking about coming here, or things you would do differently, this would be a great opportunity for that. Or if you think of anything afterwards, zip me an email and editing Michael will put a snippet in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
But do you have any final advice for us or anything you would do differently?
What I would do differently is I probably would try to hold out for a place closer to town. That has more to do with my relationship and trying to convince Kim that it is more important. I really do regret that I'm not closer to downtown because I do walking so much, and I would spend much more time downtown if I were within walking distance instead of right now during winter. I don't get down here as much because I can't scooter down. And but during the summer, it's easy. I guess the one thing that I would say is we moved here summer of 2021, COVID full swing.
Yeah.
And the downtown had some empty storefronts, and talking to you, talking to other longtime residents, a lot of that came about because of COVID, but it's also clear that it's not completely because of COVID. And so I'm eager to see the downtown storefronts filled out. I would love to see that. And this is true in Albany as well. There's some empty spots.
There's some pretty long-term commercial vacancies. Yeah. And I think that the challenge there is that real estate prices are higher here. And so it takes a while to fill some of those vacancies because those owners, they're looking for someone to sign a commercial lease that's presumably very long-term. So they don't want to just give the spot away and then be locked into that discounted rent for a long time.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But that's part of the give and take, of course, in commercial real estate and how we relate to it on the non-real estate broker side of things. Just as a normal human, there's a bunch of vacant spaces.
Right. And we've got like an entire block, just one block north of here.
We've got an amazing downtown. Albany does too. And I feel like there's so much support for local entrepreneurship and small business, but there's opportunity for more of them to come in if the business model works and they can make it work price-wise. I think that's what it comes down to.
100%.
Yeah.
One of the things I love about Corvallis is the city planning that does de-emphasize the traditional commercial stuff that you see in most American cities, including Albany. There is definitely, you've got 9th Street here in Corvallis, which is just a typical commercial strip. but that is atypical. And it's the only place in town that has that.
If you want to go shopping in Corvallis, you've got some stuff downtown, most of which I feel like is safe to say is, you
boutique
got
type
9th
stuff.
Street, which is pretty classic for a college town to have some commercial strip where you've got like Trader Joe's and a bowling alley
Yeah.
and a Chinese buffet and a movie theater and stuff like that. Car dealerships and the Bed Bath & Beyond before they left.
Mhm.
But then aside from that, for Corvallis shopping, you've just got some small little strip malls in a few spots, and that's it.
Yeah.
We don't have big commercial here.
Yeah. And for me, I like that. And I'm glad there's only that one 9th Street commercial strip, which I'm about to go to Trader Joe's and Michael's to buy art supplies.
I'll be at Market of Choice tonight, ironically, to get a chocolate peanut butter cake for Ray's birthday coming up.
That's pretty funny.
But yeah, I'll see you in the chocolate cake aisle. No, you're going to be at the co-op, right? Don't
Yeah.
show this to Kim.
She'll see it.
It's going to be a lot later. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is fun. JD, you know that I really appreciate you. I just want to say again, thank you for taking the time and
Yeah.
being willing to come out and be on camera. You're very used to that. You've done YouTube and social media and all kinds of stuff in your career. Most people aren't. So I appreciate that you were enthusiastically up for making this happen, I guess, regardless.
Happy to have.
And
I love Corvallis and I want other people to love it too.
yeah, there you go. And folks, I hope it's obvious, but we do a lot more than just, slamming people into homes here. This is not all about just buy, sell houses. So if we can be a resource for you, don't make it overly complicated. Contact info is at the end screen and the description below. Reach out. We're happy to hop on a very casual Zoom or phone call with you. Just answer questions about the Mid-Valley, right? It's not just even all about Corvallis. And of course, what we actually do for a living is help people buy and sell homes when it's the right time to do just that. So please do the usual YouTube stuff. Hit subscribe. Check out our other resources like the narrated driving tours of neighborhoods. That's a really good one. And we're never too busy for you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank you for checking this out. Blue paint me. As we say, bye for now.